And we should all be able to be heard now, if we can get a confirmation on that, so that way we don't have what happened last time happen. But at least we got Craig on our side.
We got Craig
without losing 5 minutes.
Someone else might want to, or I guess I could pull it up on my desktop.
Yeah, there's just a delay to it, for sure.
So I'm not hearing any audio on my phone, but I'll pull it up on my desktop as well. Might just be something on my phone. So I'm not hearing any audio on my phone. Oh, there's my voice. Okay.
Cool.
You hate hearing your own voice.
Yeah, I sound like a corn nut if I were to describe my voice.
Corn nut.
Okay. If we can hear you, Dallas, can you just double check that mine comes through? Because all of y'all's audio is on the same channel. Mine is on a separate channel.
Sorry, yeah. Let me get that pulled back up. I hear you. Can everyone else just say a word?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff. Yeah, everyone else should be good. If we can, we should. Yeah. Cool. All right.
Sounds good.
So I think we're ready. So, hello, welcome to Unfinished Adventures. This is episode 2 of the Yooka Laylee series. We've been playing through Yooka Laylee so far. This is where we basically go through and we pick a game, we play through it, and we come together and discuss it. I am your host, Trev, and let's see. Can you guys see? Yeah, that's cool.
I'm Dallas.
Skylar.
I'm Jeff Rooney.
I'm Scott.
And we are here to walk you through Worlds 3 and 4. Probably really clumsily and definitely not professionally, but that's what we're here to do. Yeah, so last time we talked about Tribal Stack, Tropics, and Glitter Glacier? Basically the intro world and the ice world, which I'm kind of glad the ice world is out of the way. So we had some fun with those, and I think now we're kind of getting into the big boy levels with Moody Maze Marsh and Capital Casino, which I definitely remember seeing a lot of, like, the casino, like I remember that sort of being like a bigger thing, that was a themed level, because, you know, it's not just like your normal level, and I think we'll definitely kind of get into that. I don't know about y'all, but I think to me that was so far the funnest world yet, but we'll see. Yeah, so let's kick it off into Moody Maze Marsh. So very different level. I mean, honestly, it once again like reminded me of sort of Banjo-Kazooie. It reminded me of the haunted level, with like just the house that was in the middle. There was no house or anything, but I definitely, as soon as I loaded in there, I got those vibes. But what did y'all think of? What did y'all think of like the level in terms of like what it is?
I thought it was a mixture of like Bubble Goop Swamp from Banjo-Kazooie and that haunted level.
Yeah, that's a good... I forgot about the swamp area. It's funny, my brain didn't even go to swamp at first. I think it's because I saw the pumpkins and I was like, oh, haunted. And the music, I feel like, sways a little haunted.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it to me, it definitely felt like the first level where I was like, all right, things are getting serious now. Like, you know, there's always that turning point in a video game where it's like you're taking off the training wheels. You know, you got your baby steps in. Now you got to get your 10,000 steps in. And yeah, I mean, because you know, there's so many threats around the level that you can't just freely, you know, do your little wheel move and jump around. You have to actually pay attention. So
you definitely get punished more in this level. I feel like the Glitter Freeze Glacier had the part where if you were in a frozen area, you know, you would start getting hurt. But just here, it's like the water is poison. You know, the water is lava, basically. But one of the cool things, like whenever you mentioned a turning point in the game, the infinite air power up, like whenever that's like the first thing you walk up to Trowser and you're like, hey man, you know, and he gives you your power up, and it's just being able to actually go underwater, and like that adds an extra layer because they're almost different levels. Like whenever you go in and dive, like that's a certain area, and then once you hit the ground, like it gets all murky and hazy and kind of gets spooky, like you mentioned. And I kind of thought it was like deceptively murky. I was like, the water was kind of clear in certain spots, and then as soon as you went to the floor, it's like you can't see anything while you're down there.
Yeah, I did like that power up. I mean, because it also kind of like remediates swimming.
Yeah,
which I kind of think is nice. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of in platforming games, as I mentioned before, like the control scheme switching. Also, can you see the image? So for those who are listening to this, I'm showing an image of Moody Maze Marsh here. So I at least got one of those things working. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, basically it's very dark, very green, very swampy and murky. But
I feel like there's less landmarks than like the other previous levels. Like I felt like it was a little harder to navigate because like I usually like look at like, you know, like the first one had like the floating islands. The second level had like, you know, the ice, like the different layers of ice world. This one was just kind of like trees, like dark green and trees.
So there's also a lot of walls.
Yeah,
you know? Like because when you first jump in, you're pretty much in a hallway. Like that's you are surrounded by walls. Like you can't, and you don't even go forward. It's not even like there is a tunnel out. You have to jump in and swim under. So like the first part of this level before it's expanded is like almost a maze in terms of like that. It's kind of weird though because you can kind of quickly get on top of the maze, but yeah, your line of vision is not very high. I don't know if that's the way to say that. You can't see a lot.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can change this image.
Yeah, I do love the that's one thing I do enjoy from this game is the fact that you feel like the game wants you to go a specific direction. Yet you can climb on top of things, even though it may be like slightly difficult. But then whenever you do it, you're like, "Ooh, am I breaking the game right now?" But I'm sure like literally everyone's doing the same thing.
Yeah, there's yeah, I agree. Like especially this one has that that vibe where like if you even just look right on this picture, you have a hallway, or not a hallway, but you have a basically an area that you can jump. But once you get over to that other side, you can just hop on those rocks and then like climb up everywhere. And there was even a couple points. Like there's a what was that thing called? It was like a steam engine or steam house or something like that. You can jump on top of that, and then you can keep climbing up. I don't think it was an ice thing, but you keep climbing up, and you basically jump into a chimney, and there's a skull in there, and you get that as a power up. Or not a power up. It's like an item. It says like pirate's booty or something like that. It's a skull. Yeah.
I think I may have missed that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things like what Dallas mentioned. If you kind of assume that you're breaking the game, you can just kind of almost go anywhere, and then whenever you do that, you get rewarded. You know, you get rewarded with some booty. But
I most definitely did break the game, and I didn't get rewarded, but it wasn't. I didn't get punished for it. And we'll kind of I think get to that in a little bit because I think whenever you go into I don't know, whenever you kind of like take this level, it does open up a bit. Like even though that first initial is just like hallways and like you can't see, but even when it opens up to just like infinite swamp. So it kind of becomes like flat with still not a lot of landmarks.
Yeah.
Also, the characters in this level. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask you just what your thoughts on this level were in terms of it being another water level, since I know those are your favorite. Like, I know how much you like water and ice levels. So this is basically like somewhere kind of in between where it has a lot of water elements where you can, hit the ground and or jump into the water and swim around and all that. But
I use the power up more, and that made me kind of be able to deal with it a bit more, because like the power up itself, that it pretty much negated swimming, right? Which is fine. I mean, swimming is just fine. It's never what I want to do. So I thought this was, I mean, I like this level. I think I like this level more than the first two. It also felt a little shorter, but in terms of navigating it with the air bubble pocket thing, it wasn't kind of like, oh, this is an annoyance. It was mainly an annoyance with the directionlessness, which I think is honestly a problem throughout this whole game, though. But still,
yeah, I think this level and Capital Casino like really made me feel like I wish I had a map, because there's
like a lost, lonely little boy.
Yeah,
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, I definitely got lost a couple times. Like I know there's a spot in the game. I don't remember if it's whenever you expand it or not, but there's like a platform that's completely sideways, and you can go across it and then go into it, and then there's like this platforming puzzle. But I ended up falling like over it, and so I landed in the swamp and I ended up dying, and then I couldn't figure out how to get over there again. I was like, I don't even know where that was. Like I just happened to come up on it, and then I think it ended up being pretty close to the start of the level, which was, it's like a testament to how big the level is, that even things that are very close to the start can sometimes be difficult to find.
Yeah. It's really just kind of confusing level design. I mean, because like, if you think about that, and let's compare it to a totally fair comparison of let's go to like any other
Mario
open
Odyssey
world game. No.
That's-
My mind actually went to the newest Souls game. I forget what it's called.
Elden Ring?
Elden Ring. Because like that's a giant open world, which obviously this is not that. A horrible comparison.
Yeah.
But the landmarks there, you see something interesting, you can immediately go to it. With Yooka Laylee, since it's a platformer, like you might be able to see something interesting, which you really can't in this world. But then you like getting to it is kind of the problem, I guess, which in other games like Breath of the Wild solved it, but you can just climb everything, so you can get wherever you want. But Yooka-Laylee can't do that. He can only climb, or he can only jump a certain height, which you can get away with a lot in it, and I do kind of enjoy it. But I don't know, it's just kind of weird level design in that way. Is like it almost seems like they didn't want you to do it, but you could if you had enough determination. I don't know.
Yeah, but I will say I will say in some of these levels, it has the Elden Ring type or Dark Souls finding a secret that lets you, like you find a switch, you can't get to it, but if you can traverse through the level and you end up coming around to it and you hit the switch and then you can get back to like the very beginning of the level. This level, I think this level has it, and then I think the ice level had it too. The World 2, it had a spot where you break something and then you can like access a later part of the level at the very beginning, So it's basically the Dark Souls of platformers.
Yeah.
Way to bring it back there.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, that was a very enlightening moment for me whenever I found that you can go through those pipes, because I don't think I did that in World 2. So for World 3, me neither. Yeah, once I saw that, I was like, okay, this is getting good. Like fast travel is somewhat of a thing now.
Yeah.
They heard me.
Yeah, they heard our complaints from last episode.
Yeah. It worked. It did its job. So in this level as well, the characters that were kind of around the world were shopping carts, which I think where they were just kind of they were going for the vibe of just like being tossed in like a swamp or something. They were all
like
broken.
Trash.
Yeah.
Which did you guys? So I mentioned it kind of in the pre-stream, or the pre-show rather. I like on this world and in the fifth world, like I kind of went all in on trying to find things, like kind of incidentally. I just went and started collecting as much stuff as I could. So I did all the cart stuff. I went through all the mazes. I found all the ghost riders and stuff like that. Like I was I was having a blast, and then then I ended up like I was like, "Where's the boss?" And then I was like, "Oh," and then I found it. Um, but like I really liked the obviously Frogger inspired log area. Like I liked that. Like I thought that was kind of fun, just kind of a callback to classic games.
I don't know.
I think
if
that
I'm the only-
happened.
You can go.
Go ahead, Jake.
I was like, I don't know if I'm the only one who did this, but I would always expand the worlds first before even going into them.
Oh,
So
I didn't do that.
I never I would do that, and I'm pretty sure from the third world on, I would expand it and then just kind of like work my way around, trying to get like as much as I can. So it's like I don't really know what they looked like before expansion, but I was like, from the first two worlds, I was like, I didn't feel like I missed much, like from the initial state. So I was like, I'll just knock it out of the way.
That's super interesting, and I'm glad you did that, because I have that thought literally every time. Like, if you ever go and, like, you watch my streams, you will see me going, should I just expand it? But I'm glad that I don't, because honestly, I think that if I immediately expanded it, I would be like, I am so lost. Yeah, because it is a lot, and it is nice just knowing, well, like, at least I can make this lap. But, like, in a weird way, I kind of think they designed for that, because at least with World 4, the Casino world, you go in, it costs 10 pages to unlock the world. Done. And then it costs 11 to expand it.
Yeah, it was a weird number.
Yeah, it's like, what? This isn't a reward, like this isn't like, it's just a thing I can do. So what at this point, why even give me the option? Like, just do it. I don't know.
Make them more expensive and knock it out of the way.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like you've earned it when it's one more pagey away. It's like, yeah, this is just what you want me to do, I guess. Like, I don't know, kind of weird design. But I am glad. I'm glad that you did that, because I feel like it kind of justified, because I already felt lost with the worlds in general, and it seems like you definitely also felt lost, and I think that probably didn't help, honestly.
No, but I just didn't want to like have to backtrack and get lost again. You know what I mean? Like when you expand it once, then you can just go around. Like I can make one single lap.
Yeah, that was our thinking as well. And I think it was either during or after the second world that we made that executive decision. I was like, man, I'm tired of coming back and forth in this place.
Yeah.
Getting from world to world is already what feels like a chore to me. So I was like, let's just unlock it, do the whole thing, and jump out. Get our pages and run.
Yeah. So definitely not Jeff's 100% approach, which is not approach that I'm even taking. And I happened to look, because I was looking at the achievements, and like I think there are like 140 pages in this game, and I'm like, where are they? Because we are getting close to being done with this game. All we have is World 5.
Is there 5
and the boss?
Oh, is there a final? Is there 5 and then that's it? Like, and then the boss?
I think so. I think there's just I think there's an outside area to get to the boss, but I don't know if it's like, I don't know if there's any like sustenance to it, or if it's just like direct beeline. So
I do feel like the achievements though, like they're pretty I'm sure a couple of them are like, collect everything, but I feel like they're pretty giving with some of them. Like I've already have 57% of them.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I would expect. I was just curious to know, because I was like, how many pages are there? And that's the way to find out, is just to go look at the achievements. And I was like, oh, look at all the pages I won't collect.
Well, you can look at your totals. Does the totals not tell you how many there are total?
Oh, I don't know. That's too much effort.
You just
I can just click. I can click. I gotta pause it, and I gotta wait for the animation.
Steam is guess on the quiz how many pages you have. You just guess.
I did, yeah, and I think I actually got it correctly, because like I think it was one of those things where like two options were obviously incorrect, and then one of them was just like, it's got to be the one that sounds because you couldn't pause it during the quiz.
Yeah, you can't pause it during the quiz. Yeah,
so you just gotta know. But I did get that one right. So I take it no one else is doing 100% approach. Scott, how are you approaching these worlds? Are you kind of going in with the same like gusto as Jeff, or are you just like, I'm just here and I'm enjoying it?
Absolutely not. I'm not doing 100%.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not doing 100% either. Like, let's not get it twisted. I'm not skipping anything. But if I come up on something, I'm going to do it. But I'm not seeking anything out. Like, I'm walking around, So like, don't paint me like a monster or a freak.
Too late. Yeah. So Scott, how's your general approach to these worlds?
So for this world, something that I really appreciate is how linear it was compared to the other worlds. Like how you can just go from pagey to pagey instead of
Yeah.
looking around to try to find a event to do. Um, although I didn't find the boss until later, until I came back to it after Kashina.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
you didn't beat
it
the
felt
boss before
rapid
you.
fire.
Oh,
The pages felt rapid fire, I think, which was nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always nice to get rewarded for stuff and not necessarily just like quills.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad that you brought up the boss, because one of the things that I
his name's
noticed,
Trev.
his name is Trev.
Yeah.
Did you guys do the boss before or after expanding the world? And obviously, we know the answer for Jake.
I did it after expanding the world.
Okay.
We expanded. Yeah, we expanded first and asked questions later.
Yeah.
Fought bosses later. Yeah.
I think I mentioned that I pretty much like I did as much as I could in the level, and then I was like, "Where's the boss at?" And I mean, once you like actually find where the boss is at, it's kind of obvious. Like it's just like it's like this big hole, and you just walk into it. Like, oh, yeah, that does make sense. This is where I would hide if I was a boss as well.
So I managed to get to the boss before I expanded the world, and I don't think I was supposed to. And I say that, but it's really weird because I feel like there is a ramp to get to the boss. Like, I don't remember it feeling like I was at the boss and I wasn't supposed to be there, except for the fact that everything around me was, like, empty. Like, because you basically, the area I got to, and it's on my, like, if I could get videos working, I would show it on my Twitch stream. But like I got to the world, and you know how he's kind of like in that hole, and there's like the whole circle thing around him or whatever, and like Kardos is in the back. So whenever I went there, there was nothing else loaded. Kardos was there, but there were no quills, there was no like enemies, there was no nothing. It just felt like empty geometry. Sorry, my cat is being a real cat. There was just like empty geometry. So like I found Kardos and I did Kardos's ride or whatever, and I was going around like nothing. Like it felt like the world wasn't loaded in. So I did Kardos, got that done, and then I went and I fought the boss. And then, you know, I'll go in detail on the boss in a minute. But then so I beat the boss, I come out, and then I see like another platform, like kind of far away that I could like almost barely make it to. And so I ended up like basically hovering, damage boosting off of some vines to get onto some platform, and then I flew all the way to the other geometry part of the level that wasn't loaded at all yet. So it's like I literally got to like this other half of a level with nothing spawned in, no quills, but like some things were spawned in. Like there was like a weird like I don't know, like some things were spawned in, but I could tell the game was clearly not working. And the entire time I'm like playing it, I'm just like, I can't tell if this is just the way it's supposed to be or if I'm not supposed to be here yet. And then I went out to the world and I expanded it, and then I came back in, and then I went to where the boss was, and there was just stuff everywhere, and there was like all this stuff to get there. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of fun that it reminds me of like playing Halo and like trying to break and get out of bounds and like just really have like fun with the world. So even though nothing was there, it I don't know. It reminds me of like so the Halo thing, or like viewing like beta footage of video games of just like bare bones, whatever. But I had fun with that. But I wasn't sure if I was even supposed to be at the boss at that point.
So you said you did the Kardos, the Kardos whatever mini game. Did you end up having to do that one more than once?
I mean, maybe I died in it, but
Okay, so I guess that's what I was gonna ask. Like, did you play it more than once, and like the first time it didn't load, and then the second time it still didn't load, or anything like that?
No, like Kardos loaded. It
well,
just,
like it was
no,
the stuff
like,
around it that wasn't loading, right?
Yeah, it just was empty. I
So
was
was
just
that
kind of running around
consistent?
empty stuff.
Okay.
I didn't go back and do it again, but I mean, I saw so much more stuff around the world when I came back the second time.
Huh.
So I just thought that was funny.
I'm sure the developers probably thought through all of this, like the game designers and stuff, but now it just gives me so much joy to like create a game in the future and just not really care if people can get to one place or another. So that knowing that everyone here, it sounds like we all had fun trying to like break the game. So, giving people that satisfaction. We're like, oh yeah, we totally meant to do that.
Yeah. It is a little bit of fun to break it, but the breaking just can't be like, oh, now my save's gone. Thanks.
Yeah, like
Welcome to World 1. You're like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the bad kind of break. Anyway, so let's get into Trev, the Tentacool. Jake, you want to walk us through what this boss is? I'll dig up an image.
Yeah, big squid boy with eyeballs, and he throws out tentacles and kind of swings them back and forth. You gotta jump over him, and then he kind of follows you around at one point,
Oh, gosh.
and you gotta run away, and that's pretty much the fight. And then they say now you gotta swim and do it.
Yeah. Did you die? Did you die fighting him?
Yes.
Yeah, I died.
Very
I
much
think I
so.
died.
did you?
I think I died twice or three times. Maybe I died. I either died twice or three times, and it was always on stuff like I would be trying to jump over him, and I didn't have it in my head correctly that the tentacle was done moving, so I was jumping over him at the middle, and he was just like lifting it up, and so I would jump into him, like that kind of thing, and then like this. Whenever he would smack the ground, it had the little sonar thing that would come out. Like, I would somehow jump over one side, hit the other side, and I'm like, okay, like I'm just like being bad.
I would keep hitting the plants, like the spiky plants
Yeah,
on the side.
that-
Would
yeah.
be my demise.
Yeah, well, that happened to me a couple times because the way that level is set up, it has the it has the vines on the side, then it has like these little mushrooms. But you'd hit them, and there was a butterfly, so you could use that to heal yourself. So I would be going over there to try to heal myself. I would get the health, and then immediately hit the vine, and then lose it. And I was like, all right, like
One of those games.
yeah. I was like, well, that was a wash.
Yeah, so with all boss battles, really, and I guess it became more apparent with this one, is that I might have like 4 butterflies left, and I'm like, oh, I could beat this. This is a child's game, and I always think that
That's what you think.
like the roles of old bosses, I guess before like the year 2000, was that you hit them 3 times and then they're dead, and like with these bosses and Yooka Laylee, it's like you hit them 9 times and then it's phase 2, and you're like, what is going on here? Like, how long is this going to go for? And so you really have to think about endurance whenever you're playing it. And so not only are you trying to remember the patterns, but you're like fighting for your life, literally. So if anyone could beat that on the first go around, I applaud you.
Yeah. I missed the 3 try pattern
Right.
for sure.
I think that's an important thing you bring up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what is the 3 try?
Yeah,
Well, just saying, like what Dallas was kind of mentioning, he's like, usually you have to hit a boss like 3 times or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think in Mario 64, I think the first time, like the most you ever have to throw Bowser into like the little spikes is 3 times, and that's on the final one. Basically, just shorter boss fights. Instead of it being an endurance thing.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with like a longer boss fight. It just seems like with platformers, they're not really made for the boss fights as much as they are just like you trying to get to places and figure things out. And so I just think it's funny that they're like, we're gonna make these extra long, and like there's no health bar or anything, so you're like, who knows how long this is gonna go for?
Yeah, I like the boss fights in the game.
Yeah,
Like,
they're great.
I'm glad they're there.
Mm-hmm.
But they could be half as long, and I would be just as satisfied.
Yeah.
I did like, and I don't think I heard you mention it, but and I mean, you've got the picture on here now, but the tentacle with the 3 eyes, that like the bigger eye took 3 hits, this middle one took 2, and then the far one took 1. Like I like that they like put that little detail in it that, I don't know, that like it has more health or something like that. I thought it was just kind of they didn't have to do that, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the part that you would get stuck on, Like if it became a pain and you kept getting hit by stuff, it would have been awful. But it was just like a reason to press buttons, which is good.
And I mean, you can definitely tell that the designers are like well seasoned in not only recognizing patterns, but just like recognizing that what you're doing is correct. So whenever you hit the tentacle, like you hit it enough times, the eye closes. Like obviously you don't have to hit that one anymore. You can go to the
Yeah.
next one and then go to the next one. So I liked that.
Some good touches.
Scott, what'd you think? What'd you think of the boss?
I died once,
That's not bad.
but I got down to my last butterfly, the very last phase where the tentacle like ground pounds. But then an extra tentacle comes up and starts chasing you around while it's ground pounding.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on my
Yeah.
last butterfly, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And then it went down, and I went up, hit the huge eye, and I felt satisfied with that.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a buzzer beater.
Buzzer beater.
What does buzzer beater mean?
Well, like I mean, it was at the last second, like he wins the game, like it was a little touch and
Is that what
go.
that means? Okay.
Well, I mean, buzzer beater, like I mean, that would be if it was the last second of the game or whatever.
Okay. So I thought the boss fight I thought it was it was fine. It didn't go on too long. But one of the things that I really didn't like is like whenever you defeat the boss, you're just left with like his eyeball
Yeah.
hanging on the floor
Yeah.
for a long time just for everyone to see, and that's just
Yeah,
like
and then
the
it's just like the
view.
hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put that in my
Neck.
notes. I put like, whoa, busted his eye clear out. That's what I put like in my notes for the level as I was playing it. I was like, that's pretty violent for a. Is this game rated E?
I
Yeah.
did try to go in there, and I
tried to
couldn't.
go in?
I thought it would lead me somewhere. It looked
Oh
like
no,
it.
Oh, gross.
I didn't even try
So-
that. I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, so basically I presented an image of like this Kraken thing where it's around like a port key or something. I don't know what this is. It's around a hole, and basically like whenever you defeat the boss, his eye just rolls out to the floor, and then like his eye socket is just hanging out for way too long, just like it's way too long being shown on screen now. But I wanted to bring back those memories of that just being too much. But I definitely remembered that, and I was glad to be done with that part.
Jeff,
yeah,
the
I
game
think it was
is
a solid boss.
the game is rated E for eye. Yeah, there's my 2
Perfect.
cents.
Yeah. E for eye.
All right, so after taking care of Trev, the Tentacle, you get a Pagey, and then pretty much, I think the only other things kind of left in this world are the transformation, which I actually really liked the transformation. I thought it was really cool that whenever you got the Molly Cool, you transformed into like a school of fish.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. I thought it was awesome, and then was like immediately disappointed because they didn't really utilize it very well. Pretty much all it allowed you to do was to just like go through like
It was like a barrier.
vines in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which didn't make
stuff
sense
that
either.
would normally hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you could
stuff that
also
would normally hurt you.
You could also I don't know if there's another way to do this, but I noticed you can also destroy the jellyfish. You can attack them in the piranha state.
Ah.
And I
Man,
don't-
that felt so good.
Yeah,
Being able
man.
to kill those
Yeah.
they're always
things.
chasing
Oh.
you, with their crazy tentacles. But yeah, they met our demise, or they met their demise through our piranha mouths. So that felt good.
Yeah, the movement of the fish was really great too. I mean, like it felt good, and it was kind of disappointing because, as you mentioned, like yeah, you can attack, and the attacking felt good because those piranha or those jellyfish things sucked. But like, so you go into the next area that's designed for them, and there are graded walls. So you go, okay, I'm a school of fish. Let me go through that graded wall. That's cool. I can go there. There's big old holes in these walls, and then you can't do it. And then like pretty much all you do is just like navigate around like a normal area. It was really, really whelmed. I was whelmed by it. Like
I do kind of agree that like that this out of the 4 transformations I've seen so far, this one was probably the most lackluster. Like the one on the ice level being the truck, like you had to be the truck for a while. Like you had a specific goal to do, which maybe we missed it. Maybe there's like an extra pagey you can get by doing like a task as the fish, because like what was the first one? The first one you have to do a task as well, right? in the.
You mean in the first world when you
Yeah.
turn into like the plant?
Oh yeah, you turn into a plant, and then you go in like do you go fertilize the thing? You go, or do you go? Okay, so I mean, you have like a
Jeff.
yeah.
We know you love that plant woman.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I feel like this one, is just rescuing the Pagey was definitely whelming, as Trevor mentioned.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else you can do
As the fish.
I don't think so. So
I have like a super obscure reference, but Yooka Laylee, the transformation pieces always remind me of Sword in the Stone. Actually, yeah, Sword in the Stone, where like I don't know if you guys have seen that, but Merlin is a character, he's a wizard, and then there's Arthur the child, and he keeps changing Arthur into like random animals and other things. And so every time I get transformed, I have memories of like King Arthur getting changed to like a chipmunk or a fish or whatever. So there's that reference for everybody.
Sword in the Stone reference.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that mainly falls for you, but I'm glad you shared it.
Heck yeah.
Now
Man.
I'm curious.
Yeah, I have no clue what he's talking about.
Hashtag Sword in the Stone.
Yeah, I was more of a Black Cauldron guy myself.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was a good idea, poorly executed. But I think that's kind of where we'll
To picture it too, I feel like it's the one that least maintains the integrity of them. A lot of the other things you turn into, you still look like Yooka Laylee. There's still a lot of.
I guess it's true.
Yeah.
You're just different colored fish.
It feels a little
that's
uninventive.
what you mean.
Yes, it feels a little uninventive, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an afterthought.
Because I guess when you mentioned integrity, my first thought was like, and we'll come to. I won't get to it now, but I think you convinced me on your argument. Yeah, because they're just fish. They're purple and green.
Like maybe if they had like some little bat ears or something to make them be like, hey, you're still Yooka Laylee. I feel like they do that pretty well in the other ones.
Yeah, or if it had just been two
have
fish,
those.
like if you had been obviously a Yooka fish and obviously a Laylee fish, as opposed to a school of fish. So
yeah,
I think the Yooka ones did have ears. It kind of looks like in that screenshot they do. I'm trying to see if I can find a better screenshot. Because like if you look at like her, she looks like she has tiny little ears.
Oh yeah. They're kind of coming out horizontal off the top of the head.
I mean, you could still barely see it, but I wouldn't have noticed unless I pulled up the image here. I wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, you mean the one that looked like Yooka? Like, oh, the purple one.
Yeah, and you're never looking at them from that perspective when you're playing it.
True.
Yeah. Yep. So, kind of wrapping up, what was everyone's favorite Pagey and why of World 3?
Ooh.
There was one that was super satisfying for me. That was the kind of like the fire pyramid step section. I think that was on the expanded level, but basically there was fire that would come out of these platforms, and because I was getting stuck there for a little bit, and I was like, what am I supposed to do here? Because basically the fire would come out at different intervals of time, and then you'd have to go eventually find the fire. I don't know what they're called, but they're like the little seedlings or something. You would eat that so that you could touch fire, and then you'd kind of go up this like spirally platform to the Pagey. And I thought that one was pretty cool, just because it was, I guess, kind of out of the ordinary of what I'd been doing before that. There was like a little bit of a break, a little bit of like a secret area where you had to find that seed, and just got tripped up. So that one felt rewarding and a lot of satisfaction out of it for me.
Well, it definitely doesn't fit the theme, so it definitely, like all the fire in the swamp. So I'm trying to remember that one. I don't explicitly remember.
I don't think I did that one. So I mean, like I
did
didn't do
World 5.
Take everything he says with a grain of salt here.
Yeah, I didn't do that one. So I mean, there's a one inkling of proof that I'm not actually 100%ing the game. So I didn't find that, so I didn't do it. But mine was it was kind of it was the platforming like race type thing where you had to roll on the ball. Like, so I think this is the one I was talking about where it was on the ramp. You had to glide across the ramp to get into that world, and then there was you had like a minute or something like that, and you had to basically roll through and collect the rings, and that one took me, I think, 4 or 5 tries, and I was like, man, that one was pretty tough. And then uh, whenever you get the power up to use your tongue, is it called like tongue lash or something like that? But where you can you can basically swing from the frog switches. So I liked that one. There's a pagey somewhere in there where you have to swing around, and you have to kind of time one of them because it's in between the 2 vine areas. And of course, I missed it the first time and I had to fell and had to go back to the beginning. But I liked that one too. But the platforming one was probably the most satisfying.
I feel like a big miss on that power up is that you couldn't do the tongue lash thing or whatever when you jumped.
Yes, yeah,
Just
I
so
agree.
annoying.
And,
Like,
and you couldn't.
why?
You had to be in like specific spots. You almost had to be like a certain distance and looking at it. Like you couldn't be. It was very. It was a little particular on when you were allowed to actually use it. There was also a pagey with the carts. Like where with the carts, it was like a maze thing, and there was like an electric grid. That one was kind of fun too.
Mm-hmm.
But you walk up to the cart, and he's like, "I've never beaten this area, or I've never beaten this maze." I don't know if you guys did that one, but and then as you come back, he's like, "I can't believe you did that."
As you just walk the only path forward in the maze.
Yeah.
Scott, what about you?
Mine was actually the same as Dallas's, with the fire platforms.
Okay, so is it?
I'm
hang on, I
not
think I found an
crazy.
image of it.
Yeah.
I think I found an image of it. I'm gonna throw it up real quick so I can, because I don't think I did this one. And even looking at it, like it's kind of hard to tell if I did it. If I did it, I may have passed through it, but not gotten like a pagey through it. Oh, hang on, shit.
Or maybe you didn't get the same satisfaction because you're so cold.
Yeah, I was just like, eh.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think I did that one either.
I don't remember it.
I thought it was a good use of the new grapple tongue ability.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what I liked about it.
That's fair. I mean, I think the grapple tongue, in theory, worked, but I just wish you could like jump and do it. If you could jump and do it,
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
no complaints.
And not have it in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, the grapple. I guess I have this bad habit of just not paying attention to the instructions whenever they tell me. I'm like, I could figure this out. Sure, press B, hold the L trigger, whatever. And then I get there, and it seems like the most convoluted thing I've ever experienced. Where it's like, oh, you can't jump and press it, or maybe you have to jump and you can't be too high, or just press it while you're on the platform. Anyway, after probably 20 minutes of trying out one of the timed races where you have to grapple a lot, I was like, okay, I got a good a workout here, so I figured it out.
Yeah, I do the exact same thing. I never read the instructions. I'm like, in fact, I'm kind of glad that I'm just streaming it on Twitch at all, because it forces me to read stuff, because otherwise I'm just like spamming A. I'm like, let's get it over with. Let me play the game. Because a lot of times, I don't know, that stuff doesn't really like stay with me. I'm just ready to get into it. But yeah, Jake, what was your favorite pagey?
I did like the lizard lash race with the rings.
Yeah, I think those are generally my favorite in the worlds. Whenever they do that, because those ones are pretty fun. Whenever you kind of just like get to really use the moveset, and you're not like, oh, I'm limited by kind of whatever else there is. It's just like you just get a move. There's not like a special gimmick to it. It's just play the game, and I think those are my favorite.
There was someone that just mentioned that they hope Yooka-Laylee 2 comes out. Does the
Impossible Lair?
Does the Impossible Lair not count as Yooka-Laylee 2? Are we talking about Yooka-Laylee 3? Or are we talking about like a true successor to Yooka-Laylee?
Yeah, I feel like the Impossible Lair probably doesn't count, right?
Okay, well.
I mean, I wouldn't say it counts. I would consider it as another Yooka-Laylee game. But yeah, I don't know if there's like any rumors or anything about there being a Yooka-Laylee 2. I'm sure they got to be working on something.
Rumors and innuendo.
The company still exists, so they got to be doing something.
Maybe they're going with the Ratchet and Clank approach, where it's like they don't have any numbers in their games. They just put words after the end of every Ratchet and Clank to leave it a mystery of which one is in which. Like, it's like the Star Wars series. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. What's going on here?
You mean except for like episodes 1 through 9?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that covers Moody Maze Marsh. So now let's get into the good stuff. So I actually kind of liked the in-between area in... whoops, I need to stop moving my mouse all over the screen. I liked the in-between area in between Moody Maze Marsh and Capital Casino. I also, like, because I think one of my favorite parts about... Well, minus the quiz. The quiz actually was fine. I think I got through it first try. I don't think I died.
Did you answer them faster this time? That way you could, just skip ahead, get 2 at a time.
I think I answered 1 fast to skip. Because I didn't realize that that's what determined whether you skipped it. Because I don't read and I'm just running through it. So whenever I realized that's what it did, I was like, oh, okay. But I definitely at least skipped at least once. But the outside area specifically reminded me of kind of like Banjo-Tooie's outside area, because there was something about like it that was kind of like grim. Like the lighting was kind of cool. I'm not the biggest fan of the overall lighting in this game, but I liked the outside in that area because it was kind of like sunsetty. I don't know. I just like the vibe of the in-between area. And it was pretty short too. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if anyone else if they even paid attention to the in-between area, but there's something about being outside after being in spaces for so long that I just really like, because it shows what the world of Yooka Laylee is like. You're just like, oh, so this is what they normally see versus like their little contained adventure stuff. I don't know. I just like that.
You're just gonna skip over the quiz?
I don't remember the quiz, but if you got it, hit me up.
No, I failed it 4 times. Okay, I don't want to talk about it.
Man.
4 times.
Yes, look. Okay, when the quiz comes up, my heart I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Because I feel like I'm playing Trivial Pursuit. It's just the most random facts that you could ever know.
Yeah.
And you just have to guess.
Some of mine weren't too bad. It was like I think one of my questions was it was like a picture of an area. It's like, what is this? And I had to just I had to just pick the world, and I was like, that's easy. And then it was like, who is this character? And then it would ask me like, how many power-ups have you picked up? Like, how many health power-ups have you picked up? And I knew it was 0, so I was like, 0.
Yeah.
My favorite was in 1976. How many touchdowns did Joe Montana?
Oh my god!
It just feels like so just outlandish.
So
yeah.
It's not that.
I think
bad.
you may have gotten some bad luck, because I don't remember mine being particularly painful. Like, I was only just like, I definitely did it first try. So whatever, like if it would have gone specific or deep, I would have failed it, because I failed the first one twice. But then the other ones, I just kind of ran through them. I guess I just got lucky.
All right,
so
we're starting a not Trivial Pursuit, but trivia night, and Trevor's on
only Yooka Laylee questions.
I'm not. And you know what? He hates it so much that he tells me to do it, and then he'll come back in the room. So don't let him act like he even plays it.
I have to physically leave the room in order to continue this game. Whenever I see that trivia come out.
Whenever it's trivia.
All right, so I think what I'm going to do is whenever we talk about it in 2 weeks and we're on our final episode, I'm going to pull up some trivia questions. I'm giving you the chance now to study to alleviate your anxiety. Yeah. Otherwise, we're just going to... It'll just be a repeat of it. Yeah. Jake, Scott, y'all have any problems with the trivia? Or y'all just like blow right through it because you know everything about you?
I know everything. Everything. Yeah. I just blew right through it.
He didn't even ask you to do the quiz. He's just like, you know it.
Yeah, he said you answered the last 10 pretty well. You can just come right through.
Yeah.
I actually failed it once.
I was surprised I didn't fail it. Like I know I passed through it, and I don't know if I passed through it like on like my last whatever. And on it, I just think it'd be so hilarious if I go back and I watch it and let's say I actually did fail. I don't think I failed, but I don't know. I didn't find it too bad. I think maybe Jeff and I just got lucky because I didn't remember any question that I couldn't figure out from the context. Yeah. So
that's what happens whenever you're wicked smart like us.
Yeah.
It's suffering from success.
That's exactly what is happening. All right, so Capital Casino. Other than that, I think getting to the level was just kind of. Yeah.
I was gonna say I liked the hub world, the camo move. I like that. The only caveat about the camo move, and it'll come into play with the Capital Casino, a couple of the pages, but the energy for the camo goes too fast.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's hard being invisible.
I can understand, but it's like you also at some point get the flying ability, and it's like the energy consumption doesn't seem to line up. Like the rolling
Yeah.
is kind of a middle of the, I guess, middle of the road, which I even kind of think that one, like, you don't get enough of it sometimes.
You can get a tonic to make it last longer, by the
A
way.
little bit
I don't
long.
know if
Oh,
you've
okay.
used the tonics.
I think I have it to where I have an extra butterfly, which that has come in handy a couple times.
Yeah.
But then the camo one is like 5 seconds maybe, and then the flying one, I feel like you can fly forever.
Yeah, you really can, and that comes a lot. The flying comes a lot into play in the Capital Casino. It's a very vertical level.
Yeah. I was gonna whenever we kind of get into the Capital Casino, I guess I do have a couple questions about people's play style of this one.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe.
So
I don't know if they're good questions. They are questions.
I am glad that we finally got the invisibility power up, because one of the things that, like, I when I played this game a couple years ago, I could have swore I got the invisibility power up and like super early. For some reason, I thought I got it in World 2. And I don't know why I think that, because I didn't play it past World 2, but I was just like, when do I become invisible? So this entire time, I'm like, when do I become invisible? When do I become invisible? And it's like not until the end of the game. And I don't know why I thought
maybe
that.
you would maybe you were just so invested in it back in the day that you got all the way to the end and you didn't realize it.
And then I forgot every single thing of it. Yeah.
Wait, so how many people end up going backward? So I remember in Glitter Glacier that there were some cameras, and I was like, what are these? Why can't I get around them? And now I realize that you have to go back with the ability
camo
that you got. So did anybody else go backward?
I haven't gone back yet, but I know what you're talking about, because there's a spot in the isometric puzzle or isometric cube where you get to the end of it, and there's a door, and it has the camera, and you walk up to it, and the door, like, slides up.
Yep.
And like I sat there and I was like, all right, well, I'll just roll through it real fast. I'll do this. I'll try to sneak around it. I think I spent like 5 or 10 minutes trying to do it, and then I eventually just looked up. I was like, how do I get past this? And then the thing was like, you gotta wait, dude. I was like, oh, okay, well, sorry.
It's always interesting, like, seeing that, because whenever I play video games, whenever I see that I can't do something, my brain usually goes, oh, well, I'll be able to do this later. Because I've been playing video games for so long. But it's interesting anytime I watch like Ariel play a game, and so Ariel's my girlfriend. Anytime she plays a game, she has not been playing games for most of her life. And so if she comes into a thing and she doesn't have the tool to do it, she's staying there until I tell her she literally can't do it. I'm like, you don't, like, it's just like, Ariel, you don't have a bow and arrow. You can't hit this thing. And she's just like, but I want to do everything.
Throw my sword.
Yeah. But I just thought that was interesting. Because I thought it was interesting that you had to look it up. I would have expected your, gamer sense to kick in, and you would have been like,
yeah. But like, I will say that this game has kind of rekindled like the early part of my brain when it comes to games, where there's parts of it where you do have to come back. So like after I did that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna run into stuff that I can't get past. Because I think there's a spot in was it the marsh where there's the glass and you have to get the really fast reptile roll, and I just figured, I was like, there's got to be some point where I can get something. So it just reminded me of like, oh yeah, like these games are made for you to come back to them, as opposed to and I think we talked about it in the Fable series, where the newer games are kind of just made to kind of get you in and out. So like you could do everything all at once, or you can just like blow through it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, it just kind of like I did that one time, and then after that I was like, maybe I can't do everything. Maybe I can't be the best ukulele player off the bat.
Yeah.
Like no one ever was.
I think Dallas probably spent about 10 minutes at that glass at Moody Marsh. He was pretty frustrated.
He's trying to, Did you end up looking it up, or did you just figure?
These grenades?
Yeah, there were grenades.
My special ability are not going to break this glass.
It was a red herring, the grenade.
I think I tried to do the grenades too, and it didn't work, and I was like, oh.
Well, you also so you legitimately, one of the power-ups, the mind break thing, wherever you have a
sonar?
big mind explosion. It's like it'll break glass, but not that one.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
did the same thing. I was like, I must have this ability because it literally told me I can break glass.
Yeah.
And then it's just another ability later.
Actually, what it can do is it can break mushrooms. You know, it can break mushrooms in a wide area.
I feel like a better design for that would have been for oh gosh, here I go again. Is Yooka the bat?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
Yes.
No. Yuka's the lizard.
Yooka's
Yeah.
lizard. Okay, if Laylee was to just have like a comment that comes up every time you use something that seems appropriate, to be like, that's not going to do it. You know, otherwise you're just sitting there for 20 minutes like, oh, it will do it. It will do it.
Yeah, she should have berated you.
Yeah, you've been playing too much God of War Ragnarok and having Atreus tell you how to beat the game.
Yeah.
Well, even in Fable, which we played Fable Anniversary before this, and in Fable Anniversary, I don't remember the guy's name, but like not the headmaster guy. He would tell you to refill your, health, and you're like, yeah, dude, I know I need to do that. I see I'm about to die. And so like that game was definitely annoying with that. And then this game is the opposite of just like, it'll just let you kind of squander, which is fine. Honestly, I think I would still prefer that, but I do think Laylee insulting you would have been a good way to, it would have been very in character. For sure. So I think that would have been nice. But all right, so let's get on to Capital Casino. Dallas and Skylar, do you guys want to walk us through kind of like the level, what it looks like, and I'll pull up an image for it, the design of it?
Well, since Dallas didn't really play this level as much.
Oh wow!
What are you doing?
Sorry, I was too busy at WinStar, the real casino.
No, he was not. No, he was not. Well, just to keep in mind, we expanded before we went in, right?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
You come into a room, you start to see the colored carpets that you would see at a Cinemark or casino, the gold walls, the neon lights.
Yeah.
You have your first run in because you saw, what's his name? The snake guy?
Trouser.
Yeah, you see Trouser before you go in, so it's your first run in with your camera, so you open the door. And then you're on the floor, and there's a lot of things you have to hide from. I don't know what they're called, but I call them like little ET robots. You gotta hide from the ET robots.
The laser boys.
The laser boys. And there's all the classics. So you got all the games. You got huge dice everywhere. Broken games. And a lot of cool games that are on the walls. Those were really, really cool. Yeah. But it's a lot to take in. I could tell there's a lot of high places, and I wasn't sure how to get, which obviously I started to explore and became a helicopter later. But there is a lot to take in here. You really can lap it without even seeing everything. So the layout is grand. It's really, I like a lot of the details, but it's a lot to take in. But I feel like it does have a central point, which is the fountain area. And then once you get back to the banker, which is who knows who that is, that's a more central point. You're like, okay, I think I'm back to the entrance. So I feel like it was more manageable, but it still feels quite big.
I liked walking up on them.
Yeah.
I would just say all Laylee needed to do was comment on like the smell of cigarette smoke, and I'd have been like, "Yep."
It's convincing. It's like you're on Fremont Street or something.
Yeah.
I love the carpeting, and you can see a little bit of the carpeting in the image. I'll see if I can blow that up, but that carpeting just I could smell the smoke that's been in there for years.
If you walk on that, like your shoes, they don't fully stick,
like
but they're but like it's a little like suctiony. You get a little resistance as you try to pull your foot away as you're taking a step.
You just have like sick calves after you walk out of the building.
Yeah.
Whoa, what happened, dude?
Yeah, I liked I feel like I don't understand the scale of this because, you're a lizard or whatever, which, yes, they're small, but like everything is immense.
I think
like
you're going in a weird
like
I don't think you should even think about it. I don't think there's a reason to it.
Like, I'm in the New York City of casinos right now.
Yeah.
They're just quite
slot machine
huge.
is 80 feet tall.
Yeah. Well, it's like some stuff is like that. Some like one slot machine and one Plinko machine is, floor to ceiling. Then you got the ones that are, your size.
I didn't even think about that. Like the scale.
It's huge. And honestly, I understand why Molecule made us into a helicopter, but I thought we were just going to be some sort of giant or something at some point before
just
I figured out what we were.
The same, just bigger.
That would have actually been like a really interesting way to play it. Like, because if they had done that where you were bigger, they could have almost done a change in scale, like similar to how whenever you go in the water and you turn into a bubble, like you're almost in a different world. That would have been interesting though.
Or if we just turn into some like guy named Bob on his lunch break in Vegas, you know,
Oh,
hitting some
no.
slots. Something like that. I don't know.
Bob's wife left him. You lost 8 health. Oh, you're dead.
I think this is the best looking level so far.
Yeah. I absolutely love this level because it's so unique and like you'll never find this level in any other platformer. I mean that I've played, but it looks so cool. And even though after a while you're like, okay, slot machine, but there is a lot to explore, and the fact that it is so grand just makes it all that much more enticing to want to explore.
Yeah. I think they did a really good job in making this one of the final. Like I'm almost surprised it's not the final level, but I know the final level's space, so I kind of have some high hopes for that.
Well, spoiler alert.
But it looks
what?
It looks good.
The villain is a bee.
Yeah.
Oh. It's just something different than just like, oh, here's a forest, here's ice, here's a desert. It was more something that was thematic, but not just overdone every time.
Yeah.
It would have been awesome to see more worlds in weirder themes, because really the first 3 worlds are normal, honestly.
It's like grassland, ice, and then marsh.
Ghost world.
Ghost world, yeah.
Like if they had like a library, that would be pretty cool because it has this whole.
You went through a library.
Yeah, you go through a library. Yeah, you go through that library to get there. Right?
I want to go to the Great Library of Alexandria. How about that world? Where is that world at?
Yeah. So this world also worked a little different fundamentally because in all the other worlds you just collect pages, and this world you collect pages, but after you collect coins. So it was kind of cool that there was no gambling in the game, which I'm sure even if they were to like introduce any sort of gambling, that almost probably becomes a legal thing. But you could play the slots, you couldn't lose anything, but you could play the slots that would get you tokens. Any game you played got tokens, and then you can exchange those tokens for actual pages, and you would talk to the guy that's right behind Jake. I don't remember what his name was. Do you guys remember his name?
Yeah. Let's see. I have technology.
I did think it's funny though. Like he's dressed up basically like the main villain. I might be a child, and maybe that is the villain, but he really looks like the main villain.
Man, it's
the glasses are throwing me off, dude.
Maybe it's his brother.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert. I'm like 99% positive that's capital B.
Holy moly!
What was that?
I was trying to find a video of it. Like, 'cause I like looked up a guide and it didn't have anything, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna watch the video and read the subtitles, and see if he'll say his name, because he does introduce himself, but like the ukulele forum is letting me down.
Yeah.
It's like a new 4G.
It's always great to see just like the trope of just like someone wearing a mustache, not pretending to and they're not themselves anymore. So it was I did like it. I think overall I'm really glad that they made the pagey transfer quick, because I pretty much cashed out at the end and I got like 10 pages all in a row, and it just paid out, and it made the noise and it repeated and it sounded really good. So I was a big fan of that in the way that it felt rewarding to get 10 pages back to back. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna.
I think he's just calling himself the banker. I think he's just calling himself the banker, and the casino is definitely not fraudulent and absolutely not crooked.
What casino is?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of surprised we didn't have to spend a couple G's to pay like valet and spend a couple on a hotel night stay, but I'll take it.
Trevor, you're actually lucky. So you talked about cashing in all your casino tokens at the same time. Apparently, in version 1 of this game, if you cashed in all 190 casino tokens, it would glitch and not give you all 19 pages. So
Oh, so see, Jeff, like I got a tip for you. Play
Don't
games 5 years after they come out, and then that should all be
I'll
resolved.
solve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's worked sometimes.
Worked
Okay.
wonders for you.
Yeah.
I'm about to start the Force Awakens Star Wars game, so I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so this one, as brought up, a lot of casino games around with the slots that you could play, which
I played all.
this
of them.
game has a timing. This world has a theme of timing,
Yeah.
which we will definitely come to as we get to the boss. But really, it's just kind of like timing throughout the entire casino games,
Yeah.
which I thought was fun. I really liked the pachinko. I really liked the other version of pachinko. Even like the little floaty ball game. where you had
Yeah,
to just,
I
like,
liked
stand
that
on
one. Yeah,
something.
like where you would move around, like you would move to use the wind to
Yeah.
like move it up. I like the matching game. You know, that's a classic. It's a classic
Yeah.
2-year-old game. I love that.
Yep. I love that it shows.
He
you
said
it
classic
for so
2-year-old, and that was
long.
my favorite one. It's like,
She's like,
I mean,
"Man,
it's-
that was rough."
thanks,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah. So I think we'll have a lot of good answers when we kind of go on to our favorite pages. Actually, let's go ahead and start with our favorite pages, and then we'll throw up any other ones in there. Dallas, Skyler, you guys want to start us out? What was your favorite pagey? There's a lot to think of. There's a lot of memorable ones in this world.
Right.
Well, they're not
Well, I
pages.
guess
What was
the-
your favorite game that gave you tokens to get a page?
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. And
There's no gambling.
That's true.
Yeah, it was that great Texas Hold'em.
Can we do a golf one? That was pretty cool.
Yeah. The golf one was pretty neat. I mean, it was kind of like it was pretty easy to do, but the fact that you don't really know that you need to do it, and I guess whenever we first started it, we were the helicopter just kind of floating around the edges just to be like, oh, what's over here? And I saw the golf course. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool touch because, you know, whenever you go to casinos, for whatever reason, they've got like a 50-hole golf course in their backyard. And so once we actually started it, I was like, oh, man, this is probably going to be one of those time things where it's just impossible. But it was probably I'd say probably the easiest timed pagey or, you know, tokens in this case to achieve in the whole game. But still, nonetheless, I love the novelty of it.
I liked watching Dallas do the electrical area. What do they
That's
call that?
that's
The
what I was
power
going to say.
area.
the
Yeah,
power.
I mean,
that one was
I'm not
tough.
gonna lie, but when it comes to jumping with the new power, I just was really not doing well
Like
with
the
that.
speed up thing. where you
The
like-
last level, you have to jump
Yep.
over the electrical currents. I just couldn't get it. And so
Yeah,
I
it's
watched
tough.
Dallas play it again, and he got it pretty easily. I felt stupid, but I feel like that was the most like high action. You know, not just
Yeah.
step on this button and match up Yooka and Laylee, but
Yeah.
Sorry,
that's
Jeff,
what I
we
was-
took your answer there.
No, yeah, you stole it. You stole it right away.
You
I
want to use
liked,
a
I liked
lifeline?
that one. Yeah, I liked that one. And then I thought the uniqueness. It wasn't necessarily my favorite because it was pretty dang hard. But there is a page you can get where a set of tokens where the laser's coming straight down and you have to turn into a camo guy and you have to use the laser to like kill the I don't know what the bad guys were called, but you have to kill them.
Yeah, they were like decks of cards.
Yeah, they were decks. Yeah, they were cards. Yeah,
Which
but you
I
have to like.
thought they were like popcorn containers at first.
Yeah.
Like they
They
kinda
reminded
do
me of
look
like
like
the
that,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't realize that they were a deck of cards until like the very end, and I was like, "Oh, you are not what I thought you were."
and they kind of look like a stack of money too. I don't know, I don't know. I thought there were multiple things for a while.
yeah. I liked the uniqueness of that one, and then I liked the transformation pagey token thing, like where you go pick up the pigs. You didn't do the pigs.
No.
Oh my
You
god.
didn't. You didn't take the pigs to their
We didn't
destination.
do all of them. We just did one of them.
Yeah, there's three.
I think that was the
know
first
too.
thing that I tried to do because I found the
Oh,
molecule
yeah.
super quickly,
Mm.
and so I was like, "Oh, well, I'll transform," and then I transformed into the helicopter, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool," and I saw the pig. I talked to the pig, and the pig was like, "I'm where the trees talk," or something like that.
Yes.
You have 40 seconds, and I just like flew around, and I was like, "Well, I saw some trees. I went to them. I didn't find them," and I was like, "Well, if that's what this is going to be, I'm going to pass. And I did.
You
Yeah,
didn't
that
know
was
that he
not
wanted
fun.
you to put him straight up on top of the tree?
Yeah, in the
That's
golf
what he wanted.
course. Yeah.
Well, I didn't even realize. Well, see, I went to the golf course. I didn't realize he was like. I didn't realize I had him. I probably just skipped past like the instructions, so I didn't realize that like I had him. So I was just flying, and I went to the golf course, but then like I didn't know what to do there.
Yeah, there was
And
like
I
a there was
okay.
like a ring at the top of the tree, and you
Oh,
go
it
up,
must
and
have
you
not
go up
like
to that.
spawned, or
Well,
I was probably
it's at
too
the
far
very
away.
or you were too low because it's at the very
Yeah.
top of a tree.
Yeah.
That one, so there's 3 pigs. That one was the hard. So the first one that they give you is the hardest one because
Interesting.
because the other 2 is like one of them was like I would like to go above the deck of cards, like the house of cards. Like I am more fragile than a house of cards. Something he says something about
Yeah.
house of cards, and so you just go up to the house of cards, and it's on top of there, and then I can't remember what the other one was, but it was also pretty easy.
Yeah. I was probably so close to success on that one. I didn't see the goal, and then when I failed, I was like, well, why try again?
You're not 100% man.
Not with this. Certain games I am. Not with
80%
ukulele.
man, Trevor.
Yeah.
I tried to drop him in the hole of the golf course.
Yeah, he did.
Quite a few times before I was like, where do you want
This
to go?
has to be right. Like, you're the one that's wrong here. This is where you want to go, sir.
Into the hole.
Did everyone, when they were the helicopter, go around and did you know that you could grenade the broken machines to get casino tokens?
No.
Yeah.
What?
And I only found that out because I was curious why they were there because there were so many of them. But if
The
you
broken
grenade
ones.
hit them, if they were
That's
broken, you would get casino tokens only as a helicopter. Mhm.
That's some thinking. I just went, well, these are broken. I
Yeah.
didn't think about it past
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And there are a lot, like randomly, between dice, just all over the place. So you might have missed some
Yeah.
pages that way.
Oh, I most definitely did. And I'm okay with that.
Trevor's like, what is the next game we're playing?
No, I'm enjoying it. I'm just like I have no inclination. Like I run through it, and whatever I run into, I'm gonna do, and then that's it. And
Yeah.
and that's
That's
how
how I
I'm
approach it,
enjoying
too.
it. Yeah. So it's like since I'm definitely not gonna go back and get more of it. Like I am very satisfied with a one and done situation here. Yeah, Scott, what was your favorite pagey?
I think my favorite pagey was it was a
Coiny.
the coins. It was this platforming challenge where you have to use the air vents to like fly up through the rings. I failed that a couple times because
I was gonna say that one was tough.
Yeah, if you missed like a couple of them, you had to start all over. But I really liked the challenge of that one, and that was my favorite coin challenge.
That's surprising because like I fell like twice, and I felt like I still had like 50 seconds when I got done with it. I felt like I had a lot of time to do it. So
I don't know on mine, like I ran out of time a couple times.
interesting.
I don't think I ran out
wonder-
of time on it, but I definitely like fell a couple times. There was one time I fell and I killed myself, like because I only had 3 butterflies, and I fell from so high that I didn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely died from fall damage at least once in this level, but that is weird that you fail because like to me I was shockingly surprised that even though I fell, I still had I felt like I had a lot of time. I was like, oh well, I'm probably gonna fail this one, and then I just got back up and did it again, and I won. I was like, well, I must be god of ukulele players. Yeah. That was a good one, though.
You're the god of 50% completion ukulele players.
Yeah, any percent. 50% is probably too much.
Too much. That's too high.
Any percent.
Jake, what was your favorite?
So, I'll be honest. This is the point of the game. I beat the game, so
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of got into like an ebb and flow. But this level's the point of the game where it started to leave a bad taste in my mouth. And
Interesting.
I spent the least amount of time in the casino as I could, only because one, the Rextro 64 machine.
Yeah.
That game was horrible. It was bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was.
It was awful.
I didn't beat it. It was so.
Oh, you didn't?
Oh, me neither.
Unnecessarily long.
Oh, come on, guys.
I beat it once, but I
so
didn't get the
long.
coins.
I couldn't do it. I tried it, and so
Fair.
that was like the first stake. But then I was like, all right, well, I'll keep running around. I'll keep doing things, and then I got to Kartos. And I couldn't get 150. I couldn't
Really?
get it. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I skipped it completely. The minute, and then like I looked online and they're like, yeah, this is where the boss is. So I was like, you know what? I'm done. And so I got my
That's
6
fair.
pages and I left. I was so
Jake's like, I beat the game.
Wow.
yeah, no, like I'm so glad I like fronted the pages in like the easy level because I had a feeling they would make things so unnecessarily like hard, or not hard, but like long. You know, it was
Yeah.
hard for me. I'll admit it, but I don't know. I was just like, I can't do it. There are so many instances where I was like,
That
Yeah.
picture. Oh, it's
So
gonna take us
I-
at least 20 minutes to look at it.
Yeah.
yeah, no,
so
for real.
that one was that one wasn't.
It's
I think I died like 2 times on it. Like the first time I
On
made
Rexstro's minigame
Yeah.
that we were talking about?
yeah. So I died. I think maybe the first time I did it. No, the first time I did it, I actually made it all the way through, and I got a pagey. And then whenever it was like, for some reason, when it told me that whenever he asked to do the high score to get the second pagey or the second set of tokens, the second one was harder. And then I was actually read the instructions because I accidentally did the thing like Trevor where I didn't read them, and I didn't realize that you could roll in
I mean,
this.
you did the right thing.
Yeah. So
Oh,
once
I definitely saw that the second time
Once-
too, because I did quit because I died.
Yeah.
I didn't read that you could
Yeah.
roll either.
Yeah, like one thing about, is it Rexstro?
Rickstrom.
Mhm.
Rexstro?
Yeah, Rexstro.
One thing that I just dislike about it is that I'm like, what if I got the high score the first time? Can you just give
Yeah,
me
it's
that?
just
But
gonna
he's
be
Yeah.
like, he's like, I want you to go and
Yeah.
do this 20 minutes, then 20 minutes, and it's like, oh, come on, buddy. So I think what I'm
Yeah.
gonna try with the next level is, like, I'm sure the game is fine, so I'm just gonna try and like die as soon as possible, and then be. Hopefully, he's like, oh, now go
You
for
have
high
to
sure.
beat it. You have to. Dying doesn't count.
Oh, you have to
beat
go
it.
through the whole thing.
Yeah,
You
you
have to
literally
beat
have to do
it.
that shit twice.
That's why I
Wow.
skipped it. I said I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
was
didn't get
for-
that one either.
For any Rextro after, I just like they just make it unnecessarily.
I'm already so invested now that I just feel like I
Yeah.
have to do it.
Yeah.
Oh no! As soon as I because I beat it once, and then I was like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
It was, I'm
It was
I'm
Man,
not.
guys, I don't want to say I'm disappointed, but you guys need
That's
to
fine.
you guys need to try
That just
harder.
rolls right off me on this.
I mean, you need
It's
to
more
you need
time on your
to.
hands, boys.
Have you guys tried pulling yourselves up by your bootstraps on some of these
Ooh.
levels?
All right. If there were
Nobody wants
difficulty
to work
settings,
anymore.
Yeah, a bunch of woke people on this podcast.
Hey, Dallas
So-
played both.
bad.
He got both pages, no matter
And,
what
and I
he's saying.
lost. You know what? I played it 3 times because I lost one of them because I didn't realize if you got squished
Yeah.
that you actually
Yeah.
lose
You-
like
you- yeah, you
20
lost a little bit. Yeah.
whatever. And I was like,
That-
okay, well, there goes all that.
That whole one felt weird. It
I-
didn't feel good. It
I know my
didn't-
good
it
buddy
just-
Scott finished it.
Come on, Scott.
No.
He's like, I didn't even attempt
There
it.
we
Come
go.
on, man. Oh,
Oh boy! So the
Man.
majority of us, and I
Bad
feel like
players.
Dallas and Skylar, we can only count 1 point unless you both played and beat it. The majority of us didn't beat it.
yeah.
Since
Yeah.
we're a unit, we'll take a half a point since
We'll
I did
take
it.
it. We'll take a half point reduction.
I will
Okay.
say, like, especially on platformers, I've kind of a toxic relationship with if I come up on something and I die, like it becomes a point where I'm like, well, I have to beat this now. Like I have
No,
to play it.
absolutely not.
I have to win.
Oh,
Like
no, you
if
won't.
I think like I said, I just forced myself to do it. But it
I
wasn't
give it a good
once I
college try.
once I figured out that you could do the rolling thing. It made it so much easier. Once I started doing the rolling thing, that it was no problem.
I don't know what makes that a thing for me because I don't want to jump too far ahead because actually, Jake, I want to know what you did like about the level. But well, obviously, whenever you had to get to the boss inept, like I didn't know it was behind Kartos. So I failed Kartos like 3 or 4 times. And but I was like, something about it is because it's not one of those things where like, yeah, some things I just give up on, but it's mainly if I have like 0 modicum of fun. And I was having fun with the Kartos stuff, and I think it's just because it felt achievable. and it was interesting, but like while the endless runner thing was achievable, it wasn't interesting. It was just boring. It
Yeah.
legitimately, if it was like a quarter of the time and double the speed, I probably would have tried to beat it, and that probably would have made it harder.
Yeah.
But the fact that it went on for that freaking long, man,
think-
I just, gosh.
It felt like
I mean,
it felt like when I was an iPad kid or something, like playing like a
Yeah.
Subway Surfer.
like an iPhone game or something. I don't
I was
know.
playing like
you
Temple
know?
Run.
Temple Run. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Temple Run. Yeah, it just feels like a I don't know.
Something mindless.
Just like just like it didn't fit.
But I think what the cart game did better than this game is that it gave you the illusion of choice, right? It's like, oh, do I shoot this thing? Do I pull back? Do I speed up? You know, it gave you so many options where I feel like the Temple Runner was like, you're going to go for these coins because if you don't, you're probably going to lose. And you're like, okay, so it's just like, you're just following in the lane and that doesn't give you much room for exploration. So.
And the Kartos level was the first level that I realized that you could slow down and speed up.
Yeah,
because I didn't have to do that in any of the other ones, but like, you know, there was points where on the Kartos level, or on the Kartos, like there's the, is it the third jump? There's a big gap, and I was like, geez, how do I get across this? And so I did a thing where, you know, I would like wait until the last second, and then it looked like I wasn't gonna make it, and then somehow I would. And I was like, all right, well, I guess that's how I do it. And then like I accidentally moved the stick forward a little bit, and it you know, he zoomed, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
I see.
Real quick, Jake, what did you like about this level besides Banker?
Leaving?
Yeah.
You didn't even like the little like Plinko ones, or like any of those, or like
Honestly,
yeah,
no. I thought I would like it.
yeah.
I thought I would like the whole, you know, idea of getting coins, but like, I don't know.
It's fair.
It was a slog. I got out of there
Alright.
as quick as I could. I got my 6 pages, and I said,
Yeah.
"This is it." I didn't even, still haven't beat the boss. I was like, I've uninstalled the game. We're good.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Okay.
if you thought any of the Kartos stuff or any of the other levels, like if you thought the endless runner thing sucked, you're not gonna have fun with the boss.
No,
That's fair. Yeah.
I'll look forward to that on the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick, I think I kind of agree with what everyone's saying. I think there was minus Jake. I actually enjoyed this world a lot. I think there were a lot of good ones. I'm glad you brought up the mini golf pagey. I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed the one where you had to go and like shoot things in an order. I don't know why I enjoyed it. It felt super simple, but I was like,
go and pick
I
up
like
the ice
this.
thing.
Yeah.
I put in my notes, you know, which, like, going back and looking at these, I'm not writing detailed enough notes to actually know what I was talking about. But I also was doing this at like 1:30 last night because
Yeah, I saw whenever you you definitely sent a message about the boss.
and I was at 2 a.m.
Super late. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
but
yikes.
But I just put as a note, I was like, I am a mini game machine. And it was just because I was going through like just playing all of the games, and like I was just one of those things where I was playing the mini games. I was like, this is so fun, and I was like, but I need to beat the boss, but I need to if I find a mini game, I have to do it. But the
I love that.
But it's not matching, but it was like you also had to do them in the specific order. So it reminded me of like playing Fall Guys or something like that, where it had the four like the four icons, and so I was like, all right, green, red, yellow, duck, green, red, yellow, duck, green, red, yellow, and then I was like jumping around trying to get to the spot, and then I was like shooting
Just
the
like, I am
ice.
God.
Yeah. And then so that was it was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall,
See, that's where you benefit having a second player.
Yeah,
Saying we're
like
cheating
writing it
over
down.
here, but you know.
Yeah, I mean it does help. Yeah, no, I think there was a lot of good in this level. Sorry, Jake, you had to endure it. So I'm curious to see what you think about the next level, because I'm excited for the space level. But real quick, all right, I think we got boss discussion next, which is going to be a lively one. I do want to take a quick break so I can either pause pretty much all of this for all of us if we all want to take a quick break, stretch our legs, do whatever, and come back. Or if you guys would like to continue talking while I step away for a little bit. What are you guys feeling?
I want to pause for a couple seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna step away.
All right,
Stretch our
I
toes.
am going to mute us, and we will be back. my microphone should be coming through, so we should now be hearing us. If someone can help do an audio check, that would be great, because I am now so paranoid about it.
Audio sounds good, Trevor.
Yeah! That's all I wanted to hear.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Cool. Unfortunately,
Hopefully it sounds
Jake
good.
had to drop. He had to do a work thing, which is not fun. So, but the rest of us are here. He also didn't beat the boss anyway. So I think let's get into it. Let's get into Cardos first. So this was definitely the hardest Cardos.
Yeah. I took for granted the other Cardoses.
Yeah, because you could just
Yeah.
do it. Like the other Cardos, I feel like you could literally hit everything, and at the end of it, he's like, "Here's your pagey."
Well, and
Like, thanks.
I didn't realize until this one that hitting stuff actually did damage. Like it took away some gems.
Yeah.
So, because I think at one point I had like 140, because it was 150. You had to get 150 in this one, and I think I got like 147. And then I at the very end of the Cardos track, there's like a fire, like it's not a tiki man, but it's like a square. It almost looks like a thwomp from Super Mario 64. But
Yeah.
they're just going up and down, and I accidentally like jumped into the fire, and I ended up going down to like 142, or it's either 10 or it's 5. But I go through and it's like I didn't have enough, and he's like, "Well, better luck next time."
Yeah.
It's like, oh gosh.
I did realize that, because I definitely did fail some of the other Cardoses.
Okay.
But this was the one I failed big time. I mean, it was hard.
This was
I
hard.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott, did you ace it?
No,
First try.
I probably failed like 10 times. Like it was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was freaking hard.
The thing that I hated the most was, which it was just because I failed so many times, but whenever you would fail, you had to listen to Cardos' spiel where he's like, "Well, you gotta get back in the cart and hop back in," and he does like 4 or 5 lines of dialogue, basically to get you to say, "Yes, I would like to keep playing," but he does it every single time, and I was like,
Oh,
"Dude, like just start it, man."
Yeah, that's something I know.
That's why I don't read.
Exactly.
Just hit the A button.
Well, I mean, you can push it, but you still gotta like it's still gotta do some of the like loading, and you can even press Y to skip it a little bit faster. But
I
even
didn't know
then,
that.
I didn't know that either.
wow,
Shit. Well, I'm not reading anything
Yeah,
going on. That's for sure.
it straight up skips, like, because if you press A, it'll show you the whole message.
It'll finish it.
It'll
yeah.
finish the message. If you press Y, it goes to the next message just directly.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So for this one, whenever I watch people do speedrun races through like Mario or anything like that, if it's something new to them, they typically just try and like go through, they're going to try their best, but if they die, they're like, okay, next thing, like let's just restart, go through it again. Cause you're just trying to learn the patterns. Right.
Mhm.
And even though I feel like because the first time I went through it, I didn't even fall through any of the pit holes, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I did pretty well." But I end up with like 110 gems, and he's like, "Oh, you need 150, idiot!" And I'm like, "Great." And it's because, like what you said, Jeff. Like I didn't realize if you got hit, you'd drop like 5 to 10 gems, and so I'm like, "Okay, so this has to be like a perfect run."
Precise, yeah.
And so that was the difficult part. And for me, it mainly like every time I would get to the part where you're about to jump down into like the perspective kind of circle loop, I'm
circle.
like, I gotta have at least like 38 to like 42 gems here, because
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna miss like half of these, and then I'm gonna run into somebody.
I think I made it on that circle at about 140, and I was definitely kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, and I don't know how many maximum you could have gotten. Like, so out of like the 150 you need,
How many
could you
It's probably like 165.
Well, because
Right?
there's also a couple points where you have to basically
Make a
cost analysis. You have to decide which direction you're going to go.
is the right one.
And I could never. I don't know if any of you guys were able to like time it just right, but there's one obstacle that has like 4 or 5 Bs, and then it has 5 or 6, or maybe not 5 or 6, probably 3 or 4 gold gems like down it. So you have to like jump and then break, and then somehow like skinny through that. I could never get that jump down.
I think I got it once or twice, but I don't know if I got it on the one that I won. But like that's what made me realize that like okay,
you can slow down and speed up.
Skill.
Well, I was just like looking at it, and I'm like, that jump doesn't make sense. And I think I accidentally figured I could speed up on that first really long jump because you know there's that one really long jump that I think you pretty much just like have to do it. I mean,
that was the one I said like you can
it.
make it, but you'll miss if the way that one worked is
top
like
axes or something.
Yeah. So you so it had 5 as like a rainbow or a parabola. You would go past the first one and then jump, and you would get like the last 3. I can never get all 5, but then if I did the speed jump like I was supposed to, I would get all 5, and it was like, oh, like I've basically been playing this game, this part of the level way harder than I should have been. But
so like I've noticed. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the cool thing about that though is like just learning some of those tricks. It definitely sets you up for the boss because you have to use the speed up and the slow down in both.
You assume I remembered to do that, Jeff. That's a big assumption there.
I thought it just had to jump.
So you can make it far with just jumping. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
So whenever you like, I've noticed when I play this game very physically, and I don't know if it's just this game, and maybe it's because I'm also streaming it on Twitch, and maybe I'm just like watching myself more. But like, if there's something like around the corner, I do this.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but like I physically move.
Yeah.
And so whenever I was playing this part, and I was just like, okay, I have to jump really far. I just moved my thumb to the right, and it forces you, and that's how you boost. So I was like, oh, I can do this. And then it probably took me like 2 or 3 more runs to realize I could do the opposite and break.
Well, and I kept trying to use the break, like because it has a cooldown. So
cooldown.
The cooldown was pretty rough. It was pretty brutal. Like you would I don't know. I feel like it was like 10 seconds or something like that. So you couldn't just basically move in slow motion the entire time, which is good because it basically forced you to play the way that you're supposed to. But it was pretty dang hard.
Yeah, and that particular like skill definitely shows itself in the boss battles. You know, like you have to know when.
What boss battle? What do you mean? You were just doing Cardos. There's no boss.
No,
battle,
I just mean at the end. Here I go talking about the end of the game again. The final boss. Okay.
I wish instead of it being a cooldown, I wish it was like a energy meter. Like I wish it was you could boost for X amount of seconds, or you can break for X amount of seconds. So that way you can also see it. Because it also did the same thing for like the grenades or whatever. I assume he shoots out grenades. Which reminds me, actually, I want Cardos. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it cannonballs?
I think he turns red. That's like the indicator that he's on cooldown.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
The wheels turn red. The wheels turn red during the
God, he looks insane,
like whenever you slow down. Yeah, he looks.
Yeah. That's what
like my dad at like 3 a.m. just coming home like, hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, here comes that beating you've been looking forward to.
I mean, he's in a casino. Give him a break. He's loaded on this level.
He's like, I've been here for 9 years.
Doesn't he have a joke about that too, where he says like, "Don't tell my wife that I'm here at the casino," or something like that. Like she can't know that I'm here.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Which I remember.
How is he being transported around these areas?
Yeah. Maybe he's just magic. Maybe wherever he goes, tracks appear.
Wait, what if he is one of the molecules, and he's actually like another squirrel or something?
He's a normal dude.
Yeah,
just hanging out, and then he goes up to the doctor, whatever her face is, and is like, turn me back into Cardos.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, this was definitely the hardest. I'm assuming it's the last one.
There's got to be one in space, right? You got to do carts in space.
But man, how are they going to top this? I hope they don't.
Rainbow Road, baby.
Top this.
Rainbow. I mean, so this does give me this one did give me the not flashbacks, but maybe flashbacks to Donkey Kong Country with those carts you mentioned earlier that the Cardos ones were kind of like freebies. You just like run into stuff, you're collecting gems. Yeah. You're not really getting punished. Like in Donkey Kong Country, if you get hit twice, like that's it. You got to start over, assuming you have Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. But this one, you're just going through. This one is like harkening back to that Super Nintendo. Like you got to go in. You got to be. Rough. You got to. There's a difference between a short press A and a long press A, and so it's you get punished.
That's a good point too, because like with Donkey Kong Country, you didn't really have as many abilities as you did in this, yet it still had that same like difficulty factor. So I think that speaks volumes more to Donkey Kong Country that it was like so developed for its time that it had such a like high skill cap. And then this, it gives you a lot of choice, but you're like, man, I don't know the best way to use this. And through trial and error, you'll soon find out. But I think that's why it took us all like 5+, 10+ times,
Oh, I think I played this Cardos level. I probably played it like 10 to 12 times. It's pretty brutal.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long. I did go, and I have the timestamp for the whole thing in general of how long it took me, which is actually a lot shorter than I thought, time-wise. I'll get to that as we near the end. But it felt like forever. But this is one of those things where, like, although it was hard, I did enjoy it, even though I definitely got frustrated. Like, if you go and watch the stream, I'm not having the happiest time.
Say any no words?
Needless to say, only all of them.
Oh,
but that's, I mean, I can be doing that if I'm having fun, so that's not a good indicator. But because even like one of the other things that this has happened in the other levels too. But you know how there'll be like a big diamond right on like a gap of cart, so it'll just be like collect the diamond, and then there's a diamond underneath, and you have to fall.
You have to fall and jump. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a Donkey Kong Country like staple.
Oh, it definitely is. Like it's definitely like it's
it doesn't make sense
than it needs to be.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like it breaks all. I mean, I guess the cart in general breaks all the laws of physics, but the fact that you have to do the falling and then jumping.
But that's what takes it over the edge for you. You're like I can't.
No, that's just what gives me that's actually like whenever I had to do that, I was like, oh, this is Donkey Kong Country, because I don't think the other levels had anything quite like that.
Still not nearly as rough as Donkey Kong Country, but
no.
I would always like somehow mess up the second jump on those, and I would do the first one so flawlessly that I was almost just like, okay, am I the one that's wrong here? I don't know. So those jumps definitely killed me once or twice, just for some reason, because it just wouldn't work the second time. And I was trying to get all the gems I could get because you need so many. But honestly, I enjoyed it even though it was hard. But kind of like all things in Yooka Laylee, when something takes too long, it doesn't take too long. It takes way too long.
Yeah.
So
that's the theme.
You're rewarded by getting through this, the hardest one, with a boss fight.
Yeah.
And
it's not just any boss fight.
Yeah, it's Inept. Inept is the name of the game. And so you end up fighting this guy who he kind of reminds me of Connect, which I imagine why he's inept. Like he looks, cause he's like the Connect.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But I remember as he was coming on, I really you'll see it in the stream too. I was complimenting. I was like, I really like the way he looks. Like the way that like he moved. He kind of moved like an insect, but he was super robotic-y.
He gave me like cat vibes too, a little bit.
Interesting. I definitely got like insect vibe because like the little like things.
Yeah,
like,
maybe with the pincer. Or not the pincers,
Yeah.
but like the mandible or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like
maybe it's just like the
or something.
inept insect. Yeah, but I thought he had a tail. I think maybe that's why I thought he was a cat, because I think at one point too he kind of did like a little shimmy before he was going to attack. So I was like, it's like a cat.
Right.
But
I was
really,
getting like Wally Senior vibes from him. Mr. Wally.
That's fair.
If you will.
I didn't even go there, but I definitely see it. My brain went to Connect because it reminds me what the Connect looks like. But I really like it was animated really, really well. Like there was a lot of little details in it. Like this boss, while simultaneously being like, I wouldn't say the worst, but he was definitely the hardest boss we've had to face so far. He was also cool. Like I enjoyed the animations. I'm assuming it's a he. I don't know if it says what it is.
You trying to gender him? as I gender him.
Yeah. But there was a lot of cool stuff to this boss. And although it took, I don't know like how many tries it took, because essentially this boss, you're on a circle and you are playing as Kardos and Yooka Laylee, and you basically just have to hit him. Yeah. So he runs in front of you and he lays down like red bombs, and obviously you hit those bombs, you take damage. And then at the end of laying down those red bombs, which you're supposed to jump over, he will then rush you. And when he rushes you, you're supposed to attack him with like your cannonball or grenade or whatever the hell it is. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then that's what causing him damage to move on to like the next phase, which is fine. But there's like 5 phases of it, and that's for only Act 1.
Yeah. And like, and if you mess up too early in a phase, you have to do that phase again, or not the phase, but
even if you attack him.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. So like, maybe if it's not, I guess it's not technically a phase, but like as he's laying the bombs, like if you mess up, if there's 5 bombs total and you mess up on bomb 3, you're probably gonna have to do those 5 bombs again. And there was definitely a couple times where if I hit it too early, like if I ended up hitting a bomb like right at the beginning, you know, he would of course laugh at me. He wouldn't attack me. He would just start laying the bombs again. So it was kind of one of those things where you had to get through like, I don't know, 75% of the attack before it like triggered that, hey, he's going to rush you, basically.
Yeah. You had to do it perfectly.
Yeah.
There was no...
I think you had to do it perfectly for sure on the last one, which like is the hardest one.
Yeah. So I know, as we mentioned, like this is where you really like have to break and you have to boost and all that stuff. I started to use the attack a little early too, to give me some like relief. Just hope that it would, you know, that its cooldown would work in time, and that did make it easier. Like I definitely had to use all of those to beat it. There was no way in hell I was jumping over those all correctly without at least exploding one of them. Yeah, because those timings are precise.
Yeah.
This is one where I originally got super spooked because just like I was explaining in World 3 with the tentacles, you never know when you're going to beat this boss, right? And so I ended up dying the first time, probably on phase 2. And when I died, I said, if I have to do this freaking cart thing all over again, I'm going to explode.
That too. I was like, there's no way I'm playing this cart part again.
Yeah, and then it started off with like you on the cart, and I was like, what? Wait, no. And then it was like, oh, okay, there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. All right, I can handle this.
Yeah.
If you had to do all of it again, I just would have not. I would have been like, well, I'm on to the next world. Like, I'm just not beating this boss. Like,
you're like, I got my 6 pages in a minute.
And Cardos does the exact same thing where he's like, if you die, he's like, well, we can't take a beating like that lying down. Yeah. We got to go back in there. And I'm like, like, bro, come on.
But what if we did?
What if
we didn't? Yeah, what if we did?
We left? Think about it.
Yeah. Scott, what did you think of phase 1?
Yeah.
Scott, you there?
I am.
Oh. What did you think of phase 1?
Phase 1 wasn't too bad as getting to phase 2 where it started.
Bad.
It wasn't.
I can't believe you say phase
right.
2 is harder than phase 1.
Well, because I had so little butterflies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first time I did phase 2, I had 1 butterfly. I was like, this is just going to be a learning experience for me because I doubt I'm making it through.
And then it's barely even a learning experience because like
you just get killed immediately.
You're just like, okay, all right. Okay.
That's the thing too, is like learning the pacing of the villain, right? So like when it goes to the kind of like 2D side scroller view for a little bit and he zooms forward, you never know how fast they're gonna go. So it's like, when do I jump? I don't know. Okay, I got hit. You're like, that's how fast they go.
Yeah. You pretty much like as soon as he started moving, you had to jump over him,
right?
And then then you hit him a couple times or whatever, and then he does that real cool thing. Did you guys get it to where he would like kind of juke you a little bit? Like he would come forward, stop, and then he would actually. Okay,
no, that didn't happen to me.
Yeah, so that happened to me at least twice. Yeah, so the main one would be just he would just bum rush you, you jump over him, no problem. But there was another one where he would do the shake, like jump right in front of you, and then if you jumped, he would then smash into you.
Oh, what a jerk! Yeah, that did
Yeah,
not
it was
happen to me.
It's like you're playing NBA Ukulele 2K or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely became easier for me when I also realized, oh hey, I should be boosting and braking. And when I started boosting and braking, phase 2 was not bad at all, because I basically just didn't get hit after I started boosting
Did you
and braking.
boost and brake you boosted and braked on the side scrolling part?
Yeah, so whenever he comes at you from the front, if you jump and boost, you don't get hit. Whenever he comes at you from the back, if you jump and brake, you don't get hit.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And it honestly, like, if I didn't figure that out, I probably would have still been fighting that boss, because it required streaming. Such precise precision to do it without it. I mean, it was not fun. So overall, I went and I did a timestamp, and the whole thing of all of Cardos, like as soon as I got on Cardos to being the boss, took me half an hour. It took me 31 minutes to beat it. It felt like I was doing that for at least 45 to an hour.
That sounds. I feel like I played it for 40 minutes, but I didn't actually time it.
About right. And I love the different perspective changes from the boss. I thought that was pretty interesting. But one of my complaints during that boss battle was it felt like whenever you attack him, that it just felt like repetitive, like, oh, he's dashing at me, I'm gonna shoot him. I wish there was like
it would have been nice if there was a health bar just to tell.
Yeah, or just some new way to attack him, I guess. Maybe it goes into like a perspective mode where he like jumps to the other side and you're like trying to shoot him, with like some aim or something, or I don't know. It just felt like, oh, okay, I'm gonna rush at you and then I shoot you. So basically, the difficult part is just dodging. Like that's what you got to get down.
Yeah.
Phase 2 was phase 1, but the camera was on the other side.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, I think it was a relatively decent boss fight, but it also just went on too long. Like, you probably had to survive 5 rounds, I think, of the bombs, which was just too many. Like, that's too many rounds to survive. And then I don't even know how long it took or how many times you had to hit him on the second time, but it's just like, it just could have ended
a
at
little bit
half
earlier.
the time, and I would have still been like, oh, that one was a bit of a toughie. I mean,
it was a toughie, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like it just elongated it versus, I don't know. But I guess maybe that just was the difficulty. It's just endurance, and that's just what makes it hard.
Yeah, I kind of wish the bosses had an indicator so instead of having a health bar, like an indicator, so they would just start getting progressively more damage. Like, like in some games they'll start out as green, and then as you hit them they'll turn yellow, then they'll turn red, and then or orange, and then red, and then they'll start blinking, something like that. Because it's kind of like what you mentioned. If you can at least tell that you are doing damage, I think that goes a long way into the satisfaction of the game.
Yeah. Like, when they're on their 4th hit, they need to look like they're about to fall apart.
Yeah, or like, the smoke's coming out of them or something like that. Like the wheels are like kind of falling off.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would have helped some. I still think it would have been too long. I don't think there was fixing the length on it. It definitely just didn't end until it did. And then and that's the thing, is like the entire time I was fighting him, because it was behind Cardos, I was like, if this isn't the boss of this world, I don't like, what is? Like, I don't know. There was a fear that wasn't the actual boss, and that this was just a side one.
A side boss.
I think y'all on mute, Skylar, if you're talking.
I wasn't. He said, "You're laughing, but you're on mute." That's what we're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. But overall, I mean, Inept, what a fight. It did feel good to be done with it.
Yeah. And I feel like, that's what a boss battle should feel like, right? It's like, I defeated it. Whether or not it was too long or monotonous or whatever, we beat it. And, we feel good about it. And we feel like we can move to World 5 with a nice banner or a nice Inept Connect in our back pocket.
Don't you just get one pagey, right?
Yeah, just get one page.
So it's kind of
you get 2, because you get a pagey for Cartos.
Oh,
you get a pagey for Cartos, and you get a pagey.
And that's the trigger, is because you were only supposed to be getting coins.
Yeah.
So if Cardos was actually following the rules, this whole thing wouldn't have happened. Because I know you
True.
guys read the dialogue on that.
Yeah,
as
we
well.
definitely did.
No,
Yeah, I read the lore about it actually.
We definitely did.
The Cardos lore from
I think I cried at that
Memoirs.
part.
Yeah. Did you guys read the? Yeah.
Poor Paige's
Yeah,
mom. Yeah.
I put in my, I've been talking about like my notes. So,
Yeah.
True.
This is a 2 a.m. note from Jeff.
Yeah. So on my notes, I put Cardos, let's go, because I was excited that I got to play a Cardos level. and then the next note is I didn't know I could break. and then the next note after that is Cart Boss with the straight face emoji. And and I wish I kind of had timestamps, but then my final note for the night was holy buckets, that was hard.
Nice. I like that you have like context, emotion, like
like
action,
it's like,
and then like resolution.
Yeah,
it's like a whole movie, just like 4 seconds.
I know, yeah, in 4 lines, yeah. Like I said, it's not the best way to take notes because I feel like I'm writing like some pretty good dialogue. Like I'll be able to bring this up, and then I go and read some. I'm like, why? Like this doesn't make any sense. I don't even know what I was talking about whenever I wrote this.
Throw it into Chat GPT and be like, hey, make a podcast remark out of this.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I got you. I do think sometimes when reading the dialogue, because I'm not. So that's one of the things I think is hardest about actually streaming the game on Twitch is I will read the dialogue out, and I don't read it myself half the time, and when I do, I skim it. But like there are a lot of things that I say that I'm like, oh, this is too British for me to say, in the sense that like I say it weird, like I don't give it like the right pacing of the sentence, and it just like I'm just like I say the words, but it's almost like I'm speaking another language because like just the pacing isn't correct.
Is it British developers or?
Yeah, so Playtonic, I believe, is all. I don't know if they're in UK, but I know there are a lot of the original guys, and Rare is a British game company, or I don't know if they're explicitly British, but
they were.
They were.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that makes
and it
me
comes
feel
across
smart.
in some of the dialogue.
Makes me feel smart that I understand some of their jokes. Then. Yeah.
Over there drinking your tea with biscuits, and you're just like, oh, I feel at home.
Oh yeah. Oh, maybe that's why they call it trousers. And I mean, if we named them, it'd be like it's Pants the Snake.
Yeah, Pants the Snake.
Yeah.
Makes sense now. It's all
We
coming
would call
together.
them shorts.
The lore.
Yeah.
It's getting stronger.
Oh boy. So I think that summarizes Capital Casino. I enjoyed it. I think it was my favorite-ish, and only ish because like there were some big downers that I'm glad that Jake brought up in terms of like Rextro was awful, was trash.
I think you guys
and
are
that boss
on that one.
It's so bad. It's so
on
bad.
It. For no reason. No good reason.
It's so bad. If anyone wants to see how good it is, just play all the way through World 5, go to Rextro, and then tell Jeff he's wrong at the end of the day. Whenever
You can basically binge like a mini series before you get the pagey from Extra.
Yeah, it's bad.
You guys are not part of the r/patient gamer because like me.
No. Well, that's for like games going on sales. It's not even like gameplay. It has nothing to do with that anyway. It was a really good level. I'm excited for the next one. The next one I know is going to be in space. But really between worlds 3 and 4, very different worlds, very different kind of like overall gameplay, which I appreciated. I kind of wish overall that the rest of the worlds had more of that variety in there because there's like the casino area is really cool. I mean, I think overall we would all most definitely, I assume, prefer Capital Casino over Moody Maze Marsh if we had to take a vote.
Yeah, for sure.
Capital Casino.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, just the mini games themselves, I think were the standout for me. Like the
variety.
There's like 8 or 9 different slots, and it would be one thing if you went and did each slot machine and they were like the exact same thing, like just repetitive. But each slot machine had like a different
like puzzle
gimmick. Yeah. So it's like, okay, you do the first one and then the rest of the slot starts going backwards, like it starts rolling the other way, and then it keeps flipping back and forth. Or Did you guys do the one where it had three, but like the first one stopped like the one on the far
Third
right,
one.
you
Yeah.
know, and then
Oh no,
That was good.
I
you didn't do that one?
one.
Did you do
No.
okay? And then there was another one that was pretty cool where it was it only had one switch, but then it had two like dummy switches,
did
not
that
dummy switches, but like I don't know, like they would just
Like
stop
hit
it
them at
for
the
a
same
second.
time or something, or
Yeah, they
yeah.
would just stop it so that you could get it to where they were all lined up with the ukulele, and then then you would hit the. I liked that. Like I thought that could have been a detriment, but they turned that into a positive. Like I said, with just different versions of each slot machine.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I only did like 3 or 4 of the slot machines, and I was satisfied with doing the 4. But I enjoyed them. I think I would have probably gotten tired of like the 9th one because I definitely started skipping some at the end. I was like, I got enough pages.
See, but that's good design though, because it's kind of like a casino. It wasn't an obligation that you had to do them. You could kind of do one, walk away, choose not to do it. I like that. It's not like you walk into a room, it closes the door behind you, you have to finish a task. You can just choose to do it or not, just like a regular casino.
Well, and even there's the page I think that you mentioned, Skylar, with the electricity thing.
Yeah.
Like that one was even set up to where if you made it through door like 1, 2, and 3, and then you're on the last one and you couldn't go through, you could just turn around and go back. Like you could go and step on the switch and just leave if you didn't like it. If it's
if you wanted to fold your hand.
Yeah. If you weren't like
that reminds me, actually, there was a pagey or coins or whatever. I don't know how to get. You walked into the room and it was one of the NPCs, so like the broken down kind of slot machine guys, and he was saying that like you're not supposed to be here, whatever. Can you go clear out these bad guys? And there's just like a laser in the middle.
That's the one I was telling you about.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Oh, that one? Is that the electricity one?
No, that's not the electricity one, but that's the one I mentioned. You asked about what our favorite one was. I said it wasn't my favorite, but I thought it was the most unique. So you turned camouflage. You would stand under the laser, and then you would move around, and it would kill them.
That must have been one of those weird things that humans do when they don't know what's being talked about, and they're just like, because I don't even remember like doing that, so I must have just like blocked that out. I was probably trying to find like an image or something to show.
Did you actually? Oh, you're talking about you didn't remember me talking about that. So you didn't actually figure that one out, or
no? I didn't. I literally was just in the room. I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Well, there's because there was 2 that had a laser gimmick. So that one was that one you had to kill things. There was another one that's actually in the main casino area. It was like kind of in the corner, but it had these platforms that moved up and down, or they were stationary. But you would you walked up to the laser, and of course, if you hit it, it would kill you. But then if you were camouflaged, and you guided the laser into like a specific area, it would lift the platform up, and you could use it to navigate up.
No, I didn't do that. So that's I definitely I didn't even see that part. So
and the only reason I figured that one out is because I kind of figured it was a camera at first. So I made it invisible, and then I walked into the laser and I saw that it did like a refraction thing, and then I was like, oh, okay. That
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That one was tough to do with the timing. Did you guys do that one?
I did that one.
I think so.
We did.
I didn't even see it. I just went in, went for a lap, went out, expanded it, did another lap, and then so I'm surprised I didn't see it because I mean like I'm not like intentionally trying to rush through it. It's just if I don't see it, but also I think that this is like if there was a path in this, I would probably do everything put in front of me. But since there's not a path and it's just like, oh, I could go right or I could go left. If I go left, I'm not going back.
You're not going back.
Gone too deep.
Yeah.
Well, what also could be the case is if, since you're playing it while you're streaming, you might be, you have your mind on multiple things. So even if you did see it, you might not have registered it that it was there because you're just like, what's up, chat? Like that type of thing. Like you're trying to kind of keep up the illusion.
Chat, but
oh, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
Where's my grandma?
Yeah, but it is a different mindset whenever you are playing a game that's streaming, and that is a good point. I'm
you're trying to like put up a facade, but you're like trying to make it entertaining, so it's easy to miss stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a. It is a different way to play because whenever I play games, I definitely don't talk as much. I think as much, but I don't talk as much. So
Yeah,
I could
I
see
don't
that
either.
definitely being there. But it's still fun. I'm still enjoying the game. I just definitely am playing it to the extent that I am playing it. To where like if something's too crazy, I'm not gonna do it. But it's also like if it's fun, I'm gonna do it. Like Cardos, I could have stopped at any point, but I was having fun.
Yeah.
Same with Inept. Yeah. So
I don't know if I was having fun, but I think I was dug in.
yeah, fun's interesting. After the fact, I felt like I had fun, but during it, I don't know. I sure probably did not seem like I was having fun. I probably seemed like I was pissed.
Yeah.
Justifiably, in my opinion, honestly. Yeah. So I think that wraps up Moody Maze Marsh and Capital Casino. I'm super excited for the next world. I'm excited for space. I'm expecting full-blown Super Mario Galaxy style gameplay. I'm expecting it to play just as good and feel. No,
Oh,
but
It's actually going to play better. I looked it up.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So my
They
expectations
actually
should be
changed.
high.
Yeah, they actually changed the entire gameplay dynamic for the last level. So
Yeah.
I think you're
good.
gonna love it.
I love when they do it. I love when they change the gameplay. It's so fun.
Yep.
I am legitimately excited about the theme though. It reminds me, I mean, even for some reason just seeing like the little space thing reminds me of like the kind of like spacey area in Banjo-Tooie. And I don't know. It's just weirdly that's my expectation for it. I don't even remember much of the gameplay in it, but I remember the way it made me felt. So I'm hoping that this does that. Yeah. So I don't know. Do y'all have any expectations for space themed level?
So my whole thing with like playing games is I try not. Well, actually, I refuse to look at guides unless it's something that's just insanely difficult. So I have no idea what's to come. And periodically, I'll look over and Skylar's looking at her phone. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, well, you got to go get these 5 pages over here." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" So I have no idea what to expect. But
I haven't looked it up.
she hasn't looked it up, so we're going in blind. My only hope is that the cart is not as difficult, I guess. But actually, you know what? Bring it on. Let's make the cart 10x difficulty.
Oh no!
I want to spend
Oh my
4 hours
God.
on it.
I don't. So I mean, I don't know what the world is like at all. But I'm just like curious if you have any expectations of space platformer.
What-
Like, do you want to go to many planets? Do you want to?
I
don't know.
do.
Do you
Or
wanna
like,
just
or jump around to asteroids.
Yeah.
I guess. What do we think the molecule transformation is? Do we think it's like
Spaceship.
a rocket ship?
No,
you
I
know?
feel like it's not because
Or like an
that's
asteroid?
for a
Because sometimes
helicopter.
I mean,
don't
and sometimes she
Alien.
like makes you into things that don't quite match up. Like she turned you into the truck and then turned you into a
Yeah.
flower. But I guess
Right.
progressively, she has. She started with the flower, then the truck, and then she actually made you into something that was, useful. Like or matched
Well,
the
the
theme.
truck was a snowplow.
Well-
So
Yeah,
She's
You
like,
know.
now you're Elon Musk and you're in Mars. Good luck.
yeah.
Um,
You're collecting Doge.
collecting
Yeah.
Doge. I think that no, in space though, I do expect us to have like that kind of
Bouncy.
no, yeah, where you're like slow jumping or
Gravity.
falling or
Yeah.
some
Maybe
gravity
we'll use some honey.
manipulation.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So we'll see how
I
that is.
could see them doing both sides, like making it to where it's really easy to jump, and then like maybe if you jump to a planet that is higher gravity, like you almost have that coal suit on where you can't jump. I can see something like
Yeah.
that too.
That'd be cool.
That could be interesting. Yeah, that's a good. I don't think I know what. Obviously, I don't know what the transformation would be, but it's funny. As soon as you said what the transformation would be, I think it's because you just mentioned hopping around asteroids. It would be cool if you could just like transform into an asteroid and just fly around. And
Yeah.
Or like a
that
comet.
won't be it, but yeah, or like a comet, yeah, and like
That would be pretty
Laylee
sweet.
could be a green rock, and Yooka could be like, or wait,
Yuka
could be a green rock, and Laylee could be just like the purple, just like whatever they're called,
like the trail.
or whatever. Yeah,
There's
that
like,
obviously
why-
won't be it, but
Why is there 9 asteroids that are green and 7 asteroids that are purple? I don't know who's who.
yeah, you just turn into a planet.
Right.
Scott, what do you? We're betting money. What do you think the next transformation will be?
I, I don't know. I'm gonna say a rocket.
Nice.
Yeah.
Safe
A
bet.
rocket. I mean, a rocket makes sense.
It feels
sure.
obvious. I just feel like
Yeah.
if we just had a flying apparatus, it just feels like I'm hoping for something
Yeah.
like a little different. I don't know.
Green
I
flying
guess it
apparatus.
depends on how the level is spaced out.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to need to fly around?
Right.
Which I guess in the casino level, we kind of need to go vertical because they built it so vertical. But yeah, then after the next level, we just got the boss. I don't know if we just walk up to the boss or if, there's a thing before it.
Like a final world or something like that. Like a
Yeah.
80
Like, I know
question
there's
trivia.
not another world.
No, please.
But
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, some Dr. Quack trivia, some classic.
It's just
I hope not. Well, because in
Man.
Banjo-Kazooie, the quiz was long. It was a long quiz that you did at the end.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that to be
Right.
the thing that I have to do before I fight Capital B. But yeah. So also what I want to do is we'll start the vote on Discord for our next game now. We'll have it end at next podcast recording. So at the end of the podcast, we will also announce our next game that we will be playing. So if anyone watches this and wants to join in, vote for the game, there should be a link to the Discord and Twitch somewhere. You can do that. You can hop on, you can vote, and then you can play along with us as we play whatever we're playing next, and we'll discuss that. That'll be kind of the last thing we do when we finish the ukulele discussion. So
oh my god, we could bring like a little guest person in here. Be like, what were your thoughts on the trivia game?
yeah,
30 seconds from Tyler.
30 seconds from time.
Cool. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining. It's been fun. I think we had a lot of good discussion, a lot of shared experiences, especially with Inept. And I will see y'all next time. Thanks for joining.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.